Now, after this article was released about those passport bros making their way down to Colombia and getting the United States had to put out a travel advisory to these dusties. Okay, a literal travel advisory to these dusties to not go and meet strangers in foreign countries on dating apps. And shout out to Sandra Rose, this blog that put out this article because it's an amazing read. So they state in the article, a growing number of men are traveling to foreign countries to meet submissive women who are less expensive and not too demanding. The term, you guys know, is passport bros, first appeared on TikTok, and it references men who use dating apps to hook up with women in other countries. It states below that authorities say that at least 25 passport bros were unalived in Medellin, Colombia in 2023, and 4 Americans were killed in Medellin in November alone. Now, Owens, a 59-year-old passport bro, was gunned down, robbed, and taken for his watch and gold chain, and then his family had to receive his bodies 2 weeks later in Chattanooga, Tennessee. The U.S. State Department helped the family out to cut through the red tape to bring his remains home. You guys have to understand, that's not what the State Department is for, but that is what the State Department will do. Now you can pause this to read the rest of these horror stories, including Johnny Jerome and Philip Mullins. Now again, the U.S. State Department is issuing a warning to avoid using dating apps to meet women in foreign countries, because you could otherwise get yourself... It's crazy. The State Department has to do this. It's a waste of tax dollars to have to warn people to not do this. But again, there's the warning.
32 passport bros have been found dead in Colombia between January 2023 and October 2023. And that's just in the city of Medellin alone. The number of thefts committed against these foreigners has also increased 200% in the third trimester of 2023. And you know, I don't have a problem with people trying to find love. I do, however, have a problem with men traveling to poorer countries to take advantage of their women. And it seems that the Colombian government and gangs have a problem with this as well. Quoting the mayor of Medellin, anyone who thinks they can come here for and tourism, we don't want any of that here. What's not bragged about as much in the passport bro community is that many times these gangs are actually forcing underage girls to sign up for dating profiles to lure these guys in. So these Colombian men are really just Chris Hansening these guys, except with much more serious consequences. So to the passport bros traveling to other countries to have sex with children, or the ones that are just traveling to take advantage of these women, know that those actions are now coming with consequences. And realize that these women are human beings who want to be loved and taken care of and not just treated as submissive slaves. And to the passport bros gonna come at me saying that's not the point of passport bros, how many of you have come home with wives? We all know it's just a cheeky name for tourism.
And I'm looking forward to the challenge. Thank you.
Chinese court sentences U.S. citizen to death for murder. Beijing, Reuters. A Chinese court sentenced U.S. citizen Shadid Abdul-Mateen to death on Thursday for intentional homicide of a 21-year-old.
Y'all, another passport bro has died. I literally just made a video last week about a passport bro who was killed in Brazil less than 24 hours after he arrived by 2 women that he invited back to his house. And I was scrolling and I saw on CNN that another passport bro has died. So the first case, like I said, was in Brazil. This guy went to Colombia. He went to Colombia on a solo trip. He died in Colombia. His family was told that his cause of death was a pulmonary embolism, I believe is how you pronounce it, and that was his cause of death. Well, they received his stuff from Colombia, like his suitcase with all his belongings that was in his hotel room, and when they got the stuff back, there was women's items in the suitcase. So there was like a dress, there was earrings, there was heels, like there was a woman with him, even though this was a solo trip, which now they want it investigated because who was with him? Who was with him on this trip when he died? Because this was a solo trip. That's what they were told. And this article was posted in a Passport Bro Facebook group. So like the Passport Bros are being warned about what's going on overseas. I really don't know why his family took it to CNN or took it to the news, because at the end of the day, this happened in another country. There's nothing that the U.S. can do. You got the cause of death. You're never going to get answers, unfortunately. I'm sorry that, your loved one passed away. God rest his soul if he was a good person. But if it is what it sounds like, again, why are men thinking that women can't not be a threat to them? Like, why do men think that women are not capable of committing crimes against them? Like, you will invite a random woman that you don't know from nowhere. You don't know from McKenna, you don't know from Paul. Why are you freaking inviting a woman you don't know in another country who speaks another language? You're in her territory. That's desperation. You are so desperate for some coochie that you disregard your freaking safety. what is not clicking? And I don't know, I was about to stop the video, but I just feel like women, we have like these thoughts in our head. When we go out of town, we are very vigilant. When me and my best friend were in Grenada, even though I love Grenada, it was a very safe country. As soon as we got in the car, we prayed that God would protect us wherever we were going, to get there safely and to get back to the resort safely. Every freaking time. Men, they just don't have that.
When I was on the television show 90 Day Fiancé, I went from finding the love of my life to finding myself at the top of the FBI's watch list. If you've never seen the show, the premise is this. They give an immigrant 90 days in America on a K-1 visa. They can either get married or leave after the 90 days is up. I'm not going to use this TikTok to probe my political morality, but what I will say is this. A woman in an anti-America hate group actually used this show to get into America, and the victim here was me. And I will say, if she wasn't so beautiful, I would have caught on to what was happening a lot earlier. But she was beautiful, and I was seeing things through the lens of desperation. I wanted a wife bad.
Passport bros, the video I just stitched should be a warning to you. It's time to wake up and listen. If you're struggling and desperate for a wife in the Western world, then when you go overseas to find a girl, most of these girls are going to smell the desperation and try to play you for what you got. Those happy couples that are a result of the passport bro movement are 1 in like 20 guys. Most of these passport relationships, they end up in divorce, or the girl just becomes completely disinterested after her first 3 years in the marriage, because at that point she can just leave at any time and be able to renew the green card without your help. And then you basically become a money vessel for her and her family. So she basically played you because you didn't want to take the effort to improve yourself to get girls over here in the States or in some other first world country. But when you try to go overseas to avoid this and bring a girl back to your home country, she's going to ultimately leave your ass in a worse position than before you met her.
Some passport bros are in my comments saying they don't feel bad for Thai women being abused by their new husbands because they knew exactly what they signed up for. So I'm going to tell you the story of a Thai woman I know who married one of these guys and what happened to her. So she met this passport bro on Tinder. He asked her out. She didn't speak any English and he didn't speak any Thai, but they used Google Translate and she thought he was cute and she was like, yeah, I'll go out with you. So they go out on a date. He thinks she's pretty. She thinks he's cute. He wines and dines her. He goes all out, takes her on a bunch of dates. He tells her sweet stuff like he'll always take care of her. She never has to worry about anything again for the rest of her life. He's 17 years older. She calls him an uncle, but a cute uncle. So eventually, after 6 months, he asks her to marry him and move back to the US with him. They have some discussions about what that will look like because she's like, I worry about my parents. They're very poor. I help support them with money. He's like, I got you. I'll send them this amount per month. She's like, what will we do when we get to the US? He's like, I have a house. You can stay there. I just want you to take care of the house. I'll make all the money. You don't have to worry about anything. She says, okay. They get married in Phuket, and eventually after her green card clears, they move to the US. Once she gets to the US, everything changes. She arrives there and her husband starts working long hours every single day. He's gone from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and when he gets home, he doesn't want to do anything because he says he's tired. Also, she can't drive because she doesn't have a driver's license, so she can't leave the house by herself. When she asks him about getting a driver's license, he's like, nah, I'm not going to let you do that. He claimed it was too dangerous. But the one thing he does do is put her in English courses so he can understand her better. Unfortunately, because she can't leave the house, she has no friends in the USA. Her husband's gone all day. She gets severely depressed and it is incredibly hard for her to focus on learning English. Her husband watches her fall into this depression but does not care at all. He doesn't change his work schedule. He doesn't try to facilitate her making new Thai friends. He doesn't help with anything. He just expects all the house chores get done. Next, when it comes to money, she asks, hey, can I have some money? And he says, for what? He won't give her anything. He's like, you don't need to leave the house. Why would you need money? He's like, I'll just pay for you every time we leave the house together. And then if he ever comes home and finds that something isn't clean or his clothes aren't folded like he asked, he goes into a fit of rage and she is scared of him. He also goes back on sending her parents money and refuses to. Luckily, she eventually gets a job and they eventually have kids together, but she has to get a job now, take care of the kids and take care of the house, and he doesn't help her a single bit. He literally tells her, I pay the rent, so why should I have to do anything around the house? Eventually, she wants to leave, but she can't find her passport, finds out her husband locked it in the safe. But even if she wanted to go home, she wouldn't have the funds or the credit card or anything to do it. She told me if she knew that's what was gonna happen when she got to the USA, that she would be so powerless and couldn't even leave her house, she never would have married a passport bro. So I don't want to hear that they know exactly what they're getting into because you guys lie. The good news is eventually that guy did let her get a driver's license. Eventually we got to be friends. Eventually she started working at a Thai restaurant and got to make more Thai friends, and things turned out okay because eventually he died. But that entire marriage, she told me he just treated her exactly like a servant. And I know I'm going to get the comments that not all passport bros are like that, and I know that. But if you really love your wife, why wouldn't you be upset that other women are being treated like that? Because it happens every single day. So for the Thai ladies, if you're thinking of marrying a passport bro, this is what I'd like to ask you. Are you comfortable with this man being in control of every asset of your life? Because he will be over there. If you think there's even a remote chance he could act like that, please don't move to the USA with him. Stay in Thailand. You will be isolated from all your family, your friends, your language, your communication, everything. Is he actually wealthy or just Asia wealthy? Ask him what state he's from, see the median salary there, and if it doesn't match it, just know that you're not going to be wealthy in that state. He's probably going to make you get a job, or he's just not going to give you any spending money, period. Ask him about finances and what he thinks about them. Just please make sure you marry someone kind. Okay, love you.
Hey, what's up, y'all? So, in the latest episode of the Passport Bros, I made a video a long time ago talking about the Passport Bros and how, you know, they sitting up there talking about how black women specifically are too masculine and hard to deal with. That's why they go out of the country to find women, because women in other places in other countries are more submissive. Now this so-called they unaliving y'all. They, you know, I can't say the word. They 187 y'all out of the country. And when you finally realize that you are not going to go further and do better till you start at home first. If you can't make things work with the women that you have in your own country, what makes you think you can go out of the country and find better? Those women have men, and those men are making them set y'all up, catfishing y'all on these dating apps for y'all to come down there to get robbed. Majority of y'all get robbed. And unfortunately, a lot of y'all are out here, you know, getting unalived. I can't say the word because it's going to stop the algorithm. Something about saying the word. But long story short, you looking for love in all the wrong places. If you can't make it work with the women you already have in your own country, trust and believe them other women don't give a shit about you. They out here, they all got ulterior motives. They the biggest catfishers. Majority of them have men. A lot of them are already married and they getting pimped out by their men in their own country. That's why a majority of them that go out of town, they make it seem like, oh, they big time Americans and they got money. They ain't got a fucking dime. The reason why y'all have a difficult time dating women in your own country, because we know the truth. We know you bums. We know you don't have no money. So you max out your credit card to go all the way around the world to go find a woman that you think is more submissive because she can call you papi, yo te quiero papi, and all y'all a bunch of culeros. You know what I mean? You going to, the man went down there to Colombia, and y'all going down there to Colombia with these women that you find on dating apps, thinking that you about to go down there and have you a great time. These women are setting y'all up. 45-year-old black man go down there for his birthday. I guess with somebody else, found unalive in the jacuzzi. He had two women he supposedly had went on dates with or whatever. They robbed and they unalived him. I hate saying that word, but that's the word I got to use because they not going to allow my video to play. Yeah, they 187 y'all. Y'all thought y'all can go further and do better, huh? Y'all thought because you think that black women are too masculine, too difficult to deal with. That's because we know y'all bums. Y'all can't catfish us. We already know the truth about what your financial situation is. We already know the game that y'all run. So because these women outside, you catfishing them on, thinking you catfishing them on these dating apps or however you hooking up with these women, really, y'all just a fool that's getting fooled. Those women have men, and those men that they have in their own country are pimping them out. Majority of them work for the cartel. Y'all going down there to Colombia. Y'all going over there to Thailand. There was a story, and this was a white Canadian man. Went over there, got divorced from his wife, went over there to Thailand and found some lady, brought her back to Canada. They married or whatever. I think she had a child by him. She was connected to the triad. Once she got what she needed from that man, I guess he had a little money. She called her cousins, them triads. They pulled up on them in Canada and extorted that man. Took that man for everything. He had to move in with his brother. And his brother was raising the niece. The niece was the one that was telling the story. They took all that man's money. You know, what happened to the times when men went through midlife crisis and they just went on and bought a Corvette? You know, played around with a young girl for a couple months until his wife or an old lady find out and beat the shit out of both of them. What happened to those times? Now y'all want to take flights and go out of the country all for an ego stroke because you going through a midlife crisis and you need some attention. A lot of y'all doing all of that, and you go to the extreme because you think you about to get this ego stroke. You like the way she talking to you online. Whole time she catfishing you. Some man is putting the cables on her to tell you to come down and y'all gonna have this life and she gonna take care of you, poppy, yada, da, da, da. All for you to go down there and you don't come back home. If you can't make it work with the women in your own country, trust and believe, you going out of the country trying to find somebody is not working to your advantage, especially nowadays, because they are not allowing you all to come back home. You know, Brazil got now they got this whole policy because they tired of y'all coming down there. Now they want you to submit your bank statements. They want to make sure you got at least $2,000 in the bank just to visit their stinking ass place. Have y'all ever been to Brazil? It stinks. It smells. It smells. I wish the fuck I would try to have to submit my bank statements for them to see and go through just to let them know that I got more than $2,000 in my bank account to visit their country. I don't need to come down there. If you weren't in Brazil in the early 2000s, mid-early 2000s, you just missed your beat. I bet you I wouldn't be down there with them stinking ass, dirty ass beaches. All they do is steal. They the biggest pickpocketers in the world. But men still go down there because they got beautiful women, and they got beautiful men too, posing as women. And a lot of those passport bros, they weren't going down there for the women. They was going down there for them trans women. They was doing that hangover 3 type stuff. It's just not worth it.
You know, if you're an American man and you're not having the success you want as far as dating, you come to a foreign country and you have a lot more opportunity and access, you start to go crazy. That kind of throws things off, man. It makes an imbalance, if you will, in the force and the system. You know what I'm saying? For instance, I posted a video about what's going on in Sosua, Dominican Republic. A lot of guys going down there, treating the place like a strip club, you know, disrespectful, loud, throwing money around. You're upsetting the imbalance of things, you know. I wasn't going down there in the 90s. I wasn't young enough, but I've heard stories of guys going down there, you know, having a nice time with a young lady for $50 or something, you know, for a couple of days. You try to offer that to a young lady now, man, she gonna laugh in your face.
Now, when I told y'all the passport bros was going down in places trying to take advantage of women, they came to defend themselves and said I was tripping. Now here y'all got a homeboy talking about $50 for the coochie. $50 to have fun with a woman for a day, and now y'all messing it up because I can't afford it. I don't want to spend more money. That's the problem. Y'all trying to spend money instead of meeting somebody. Come on, man. Y'all talking about it ain't sex tourism. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like, my guy. Y'all really down bad, yo. It's funny. It's really funny, yo. It's hilarious. But they catching on to y'all ass, though. Y'all ready to come out y'all pockets, yo. That's what y'all want to be. Spend that money.
Officially, I'm single for now, and we are going to do a walkthrough tour. Now, I had to say this. It's because I broke up. I broke up with her. But let's do a walkthrough tour of Philippines. You know what? I'm gonna get into this before we do a walkthrough tour. I don't like doing long distance relationships. I have trust issues, so I decided to break it off. We can be friends and get to know each other. So I officially broke it off. I just can't trust people, especially long distance. I personally, if I'm not with you, I can't trust you. So that's just my thing. We can be friends, and I've said that before, but I just can't. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I can't do it.
Well, I mean, family, I guess they couldn't see eye to eye. You know, I really thought they would be able to see things through. You know what I'm saying? I really did. This one, I really thought. And, you know, this just speaks to how the passport bros movement can just fall apart. You know what I'm saying? Because they're confused. How do you go to date overseas and then have an insecurity about dating long distance? Like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you go overseas to find a traditional woman overseas, and then when you find a woman that you're looking for, you say that you don't do long distance relationships? And this is why the Passport Bros failed miserably and why their movement came to an end, because they literally didn't think it through. You know what I'm saying? Like, when they were thinking about it, the little clear dude should have popped up at the bottom of the screen and was like, "You sure about that? Are you sure about that?" He should have just popped up on them as they was thinking about going overseas. "You sure about that? Are you sure about that?" Well, you know, like I said, I thought that they would see things through. Obviously they couldn't see eye to eye. And the Passport Bros, the W that I thought that the one W I thought they had, now it turned into an L. You know what I'm saying? And so there goes the cookie. That's how the cookie crumbles. So sad.
You know, they're not liking it because, like, why do men need to go?
What I find really interesting in a lot of these videos is, like, these people are so fucking close to the point that they are like tripping. They are like on the line. They're like they're like falling over the point. And then they completely swerve at the last minute and miss the point fucking completely. This woman is talking about how women react when they hear about passport bros, men going to other countries, usually poorer countries, economically disadvantaged countries, and finding wives, finding women to date, finding women, usually younger women, to essentially take advantage of. And she is supposing that women are feeling triggered because of their loss, like the loss of a man that could potentially be their husband. When any educated, together, smart woman hears about a man who is a passport bro going to a different country, to a disadvantaged, typically, country, where the women are in need of something because they cannot provide for their families, they cannot provide for themselves, they are in an economically disadvantaged position. When a man goes to a country like that to find a wife specifically, right? It's not because he has met a woman from there that he loves. He is going to put himself in a position of power so that he can get what he wants and needs without needing to provide anything other than the passport and or the financial assistance that these people are in need of. I promise you the women that are reacting to that are not mourning the loss of that man, because that man has shown himself to be somebody that needs to put himself in a position of power in order to extract the things he needs from another person. He's not showing up in his value. He's not showing up in his worth. He's not showing up as a man that understands that other people want things too. He's not a loss, is what I'm saying. He is a man that is going to go exploit a different woman. The trigger isn't the loss, it's the exploitation. I find it very interesting to watch women like this be a talking head saying that, oh, women are triggered because of the loss of these men. Babe, we didn't lose him. We're happy he's gone. But we don't like the fact that he has gone to take advantage of another woman in a more difficult, in a more precarious situation. And that is the trigger, not the loss.
See, I was going to make a video about passport bros. But see, because I used to support it, you know, and be like, y'all know y'all do y'all things, fellas, because when I was coming up, my impression of what a passport bro was right, okay. So it was like either rich dudes who just wanted like a foreign trophy wife, right? Or guys like military stuff that lived overseas for the period of time or traveled overseas and got submersed in the culture, whatever, enjoyed it, wanted to go and like get a wife over there or go live over there, put in the work, learn the language. Because I have a friend that was like that. He ended up moving to South Korea after he got out the Marine Corps. He done went over there, married him a Korean woman. He a teacher over there and everything. So that was my impression of like passport bro, right? But of course, with everything, social media, everybody thinks they have access to things because social media said it's cool. So now it got the movement or whatever it was got hijacked and like turned into like this dusty incel version of guys who really ain't even got the money to take care of these women, aren't trying to move and submerge themselves in the culture, learn the language, you know what I'm saying? None of that. Don't have the financial means to even take care of the woman when they bring her back to America. And because they're going to places that aren't even, it's like going to Chicago, like the slums of Chicago or the slums of Atlanta or any hood in America, and then trying to pluck a woman out and be like, I'm going to turn her into a wife. I'm going to take her out of her economic slums and bring her over here and try to fix her, but then not even have the money to even like take care of her. Women are women everywhere. You know what I'm saying? These women know who suckers are. That's why you got these dudes that have been getting off going over there. Because number one, like I said, they're not submersing themselves in the culture. They're going to places that are equivalent to going to the hoods in America, in these countries, and then moving about on dating apps and shit. That's how you know they suckers. And they're not getting women and doing things in the States. Because if you wouldn't move I wouldn't move like these dudes are moving in a foreign country. Like, I wouldn't move like that in America, the way these dudes are recklessly moving in a foreign country where they don't know the fucking language. That's how I know y'all some dweebs that don't get women in America. And now I'm looking at the passport bros like, y'all some, all right, bruh. If you can't deal with women and get women in the States, you're not going to get women overseas, bruh. Women are women no matter where you go. They can sniff a sucker worldwide. And that's why they going over there and they getting played and they getting set up, because you would know how women move and operate if you got women and operated in America. You know how to move. You know not to go to a woman's house. You know not to do this. You know not to, you know what I'm saying? You would know these things. But that's why y'all going over there and getting robbed, getting beat up, getting offed. Because if you a lick in America, you'll be in a lick overseas. So no, passport won't solve none of that shit.
So I saw a video about this passport bro guy on Instagram, right? Showing like a little vlog of him taking his girlfriend out on a date. He started off the video by taking out like $80. He was showing how he's spoiling his girlfriend, right? Like he got her like a lash service and like nails. And then he said, oh, I'm gonna test her after I did all this for her, to taking her on a date to 7-Eleven. She's like, oh, I love it. You do so much already for me. And inside the 7-Eleven was like actually like a restaurant, like a club inside. And it was like a cute little club. My thing is, I commented this on my video. I'm like, and also he spent $80 on a date, like $80. Like, come on. And I commented, oh, I get all this from men in the US and Miami. Like, you guys are just broke and don't date beneath your means in the United States. So you guys go to other countries to be able to afford the women that you want to date instead of working hard to afford the women you want to date in the United States, right? As you guys can expect, so many men got mad at me. Are we surprised that they got so emotional? My point is, and you're never going to change my mind about this, currency for women is looks and beauty, and currency for men is regular currency, like money. The society that men built for us, doesn't matter if a woman doesn't have any money, but if she's pretty, she's gonna be able to get ahead in life, right? But if a man is ugly and he works hard and he has money, he's gonna be able to get ahead in life, like finding a wife. So instead of this man working harder to afford the woman that he wants to have in the United States, he cheapened out. He went the cheap route and then went to another country to find a girlfriend, which is totally fine for him, right? The thing is, the men in the comments were coming at me for saying that I expect this kind of stuff for men in the United States. This girl and I are the same thing. She's expecting nice things too. She expects her man to pay for her lashes, nails, get her flowers, take her on amazing dates. The only difference between her and I, or women in the United States and her, is that these men are able to afford her. They don't have an issue with her wanting those things. They have an issue with the fact that they can't afford it in the United States, but they can cheapen out and do it in other countries. They were calling me all these slurs, saying that I'm an HOE, that I'm a gold digger. When her and I date the same. We date the same type of men that we want providers, do things for us, like taking us to nice dinners, pay for our nails, like take care of us and be a provider. But you guys are mad at me because you can't afford it in the United States, but you are able to do it in Thailand or Vietnam, right? Like $80 is not a lot of money. $80 is what I spent on like a lazy Wednesday night where like my mom and I are like, hey, do you want to go get some tacos and like margaritas or something? And we go and spend $100 on this. Like we're going in sweatpants and like a t-shirt. Like that's like $80 is like, it's not like a big thing. It might be a big thing for you, but for a lot of people in the United States, it's kind of an average, regular meal out. It's not like a big fancy meal. They're not going over there to date women that are working hard and paying 50-50 and they're like manteniéndolos a ellos. They're going over there to do the same things they would do in America, but they can't afford it, so they go to another country to do it. So I don't understand why I'm a gold digger and why women in the United States are gold diggers. They want the same things. It's just that you are able to afford it there and you're not able to afford it here. Imagine if a conventionally unattractive American woman was saying, oh, I can't find a good looking man to want to date me, so I'm gonna go to another country and I'm gonna pay him to go out on dates with me and whatever. You guys would be coming at for that woman saying she can't find nobody in the United States who she can't afford, and because she's not pretty, she's not a conventionally attractive woman. So just admit that you're broke and you guys can't afford to date the types of women you want to date here, because I'm sure there's a lot of women would date you that would probably split bills with you, but that they're not as attractive as you might want them to be. But it's because you're not able to afford really attractive women. So the problem isn't women in the West are asking for too much, is that you're not able to afford it, so you go do the same exact things that women in the West are asking for and do it in a price that you are able to afford. And just admit that. Women in the West don't have a problem with you doing whatever you want to do, because we're not looking to date broke bums. But just admit that you're doing the same shit you would do if you were actually rich in the United States. You're doing it in another country just because you can't afford it here.
A passport bro has died in the Philippines. Now, I made a video about this passport bro about a month ago because he was kidnapped in the Philippines. The kidnappers were trying to get him. He was resisting and they shot him, while trying to get him to come. They shot him in the leg, and then it's now came out that he was shot in the leg and the abdomen, and he did die from those gunshot wounds, and the kidnappers had dumped his body and the police in the Philippines found him, okay? Now, the passport bros were mad that I made the video. They think that it's a dig to say, men rather go all the way to another country than marry an American. If you want to risk your life, that's you. But, I'm not saying the man deserved to die, but there is definitely a problem with going to other countries, to marry women, to exploit women. I mean, when y'all get up here and say, yeah, I'm going over here because my money goes longer and, they're easier to please and, they want an American. That's exploiting them. And this man, again, I'm not saying that he deserved to die, but he had a YouTube channel and he had multiple videos that were titled living in the most dangerous city in the Philippines, opening a store in the most dangerous city in the Philippines, live streaming in the most dangerous city in the Philippines. That's exploiting a country. You are exploiting that country. You are a foreigner. You are not from there, but you're trying to take videos and profit off of showing how dangerous the city is, how unlivable it is to be there, like how, poor it is. That's exploitation. And if you will put your life in danger just for a couple of dollars, like, come on now. I don't understand, like, what doesn't click to them when they come into my comments trying to defend this behavior. It's just weird.
Had visited Colombia in the past, posting photos and videos to social media as recently as October with an unidentified woman.
I'm with my girl.
A refugee from Laos, Zhang and his family moved to St. Paul when he was a child. In recent years, he became a well-known comedian and community activist. 50-year-old Tujer Zhang, an artist and activist, had been traveling in South America when he called his brother asking for money while on a date Sunday night.
This time he was like, hey, do you have a couple of thousand? I was like, yeah, no problem. And when do you want it? He said, I want it now. I'm in this bit of a situation here. I go, yeah, I can do that.
His family growing more fearful when Zhang stopped responding to texts.
Woke up in the morning at 7 a.m. I text him back and say, hey, I thought you said you need money. You still want the money? Text me back if you still want the money. No answer.
According to a local prosecutor, Zhang was kidnapped during a date and killed when he could not make the payment. His body later found in a wooded area covered in stab wounds.
Black women do not have a problem with the passport bros. What we have a problem with is on black women as a reason to go over to take advantage of women who are not financially stable. You're going over there to find somebody who's going to treat you like a king in all your mediocrity. Don't blame us for that.
I gotta go off of what I've seen. They cater to you to a T. I know someone that has married someone and brought her over here. It looks like she's out of magazine.
She would be a model over here, right? Do you think if she was born in America, she would be with him?
No, she would not be with him.
Do you know why? Because they're poor. Y'all are taking advantage of these women, blaming us. Black women are this, black women are that, as if we're causing you to take advantage of these women. Leave us the out of it.
Have you guys seen the video of that crusty old dude who's like, my Filipino wife has been Americanized and she left me, and then he basically tells on himself for abusing her and then explains how he thinks he's a victim? Men like that are all over Thailand. They show up to Thailand with their little 50K salary and they feel like gods because the dollar goes so much further here. Pretty Thai women flirt with them because of the elevated status their perceived wealth gets them, and they start feeling the best they've ever felt in their life. Normally, I would love that for them, but unfortunately, it turns them into monsters. Passport bros hate me. They hate all Western women. I was shocked when I moved to Thailand 7 years ago. I joined a bunch of Facebook pages for like expats in Bangkok and Thailand. The men in there were so publicly hateful towards Western women, it was crazy. This is what they would say verbatim. Western women are all fat and ugly and they all want to be treated like Cinderella, but they're all super masculine and they're slobs. Meanwhile, Thai women are submissive and sweet and beautiful and they'll do anything I say, especially in the bedroom. And I'm not kidding, men would publicly post that in these Facebook pages with like 100,000 group members, and the comments were all men agreeing with them. Anyway, just talking to those guys for 5 minutes, it was very easy to see why they couldn't get a wife in America. It was because they hate women. And I often tell people when I lived in Kamping Sayan, I was the only foreigner there, but that wasn't true. There were actually 2 men there. People would be like, oh, why don't you be friends with them? It was because I instantly knew they were passport bros, and it's very easy to tell. Women hating passport bros will not even look me in the eye. They will pretend like I don't exist. They will do anything not to have a conversation with me. But men who just genuinely fell in love with the Thai women are very pleasant and nice to me. And I'm gonna preface by saying I don't think all passport bros are bad. I think sometimes there are nerdy men or very shy men who couldn't get a wife in the USA. There are Thai women looking for a better life. They have an equal partnership where she takes care of the home and he pays for everything, and it works out great. Unfortunately, a lot of times it doesn't turn out like that. If you watch that dude's video, you'll notice he feels because he pays for everything, he owns her. These men see their women as property. And a lot of times, these Thai women don't know what they're getting into. $50,000 a year is a lot in Thailand. It's like 150,000 baht per month. So these women marry these men and get promised this life of luxury, and they move back to the US and living in a 1-bedroom apartment. They're struggling to make ends meet. On top of that, her husband disrespects her all the time, treats her badly in front of other people, and expects her to do all the household chores without complaint. And now that I moved back to the US and I'm friends with some Thai people, I see it now. One husband only gave his wife $100 per month for spending money. That was it. She had to go get a job because that wasn't enough, and now he gives her 0. And now she has a job, but she's also still expected to do all the household chores, all the cleaning, all the cooking, all the everything. And she doesn't even get her measly $100 a month anymore. And I just worry about my Thai sisters. I just want them to know that a lot of the women who come here looking for wives, they can't find a wife in the US because they hate women and they treat them badly. Do not marry one like that. 150,000 baht per month is not enough to live on for 2 people in America. You need at least 300,000 baht per month. Be careful out there.
You guys know that there's a trend encouraging men to all get passports and travel abroad. It's not just for sights or good food. No. It's to find wives. To find women who are more traditional. They're traveling all across the world just to find women who are more humble, more feminine, and willing to treat their men better than women in the US. Traveling to places like Italy, Thailand, Brazil, just to find women who will treat them right. The passport bros ideology is that they're escaping the hatred of feminist women and are traveling somewhere they can thrive. They believe the ideology that by seeking foreign women, they can find a more authentic, fulfilling, and harmonious relationship. This is seen as a way to restore the natural balance between masculine and feminine energy. This is triggering some women because they think that these men are interested in finding these women. They think they will be more submissive. I'm not sure if this trend / movement is gonna end or only get worse. What do you guys think?